Hey everybody, welcome back to the Brandy Yvonne channel. Of course, I'm your girl, Brandy Yvonne. Here at my channel, we do fun recaps, reviews, and discussions of all of our favorite shows Saturday night on OWN. So y'all know we are talking Family or Fiancé. On last week, it says season 2, episode 21. This week, they changed it to season 3, and this is episode 2. So I made the necessary adjustments on last week's video. So if y'all didn't see last week's review of Family or Fiancé, y'all can definitely finish this video and then go back and watch last week's video, right? So anyway, everything from here on out for Family or Fiancé is going to say season 3, and this was episode 2. Donzella and Paul, and the title was I Got All My Sisters With Me. Before we get into the video, don't forget to click the thumbs up button if you enjoyed this video, which I hope you guys do. Don't forget to comment, share. Once you do subscribe, then drop your name and your location down in the comments and say hello, and I will definitely say hi back to you. I appreciate all of your support. Also want to give a big shout out. I don't know if any of them watch my channel, if Kojo from Little Black Book watches my channel or not. My channel's still new, so maybe not, but hopefully, right? Just want to give a shout out to him for allowing me to be on the live panel for Ready to Love. So if you guys haven't watched the super panel for the latest episode of Ready to Love on Little Black Book 91's channel, please head over there and watch. I got to be on the panel, and it's something I've been wanting to do for a long time, so I'm glad I got to do it. It was definitely a great experience, and it was fun, and it was good to hear everybody's opinions and all that, and give my opinion and see myself on the screen. You know, you want to see how you come across and all that. So I learned a lot from it. I definitely will say that, and I hope I can do it again. So I just want to give everyone else on the panel as well, a shout out and a thank you for having me. So anyway, let's get into this Family or Fiancé, y'all. It's late. I don't know if I'll make it to in-person church or bedside Baptist tomorrow, but either way, I got church in the morning, okay? So we gotta get through this. So, Paul and Donzella. First of all, their relationship started out as cheating. Like, I don't care what narrative they're trying to spin. That's what it was, okay? So, the issues with their marriage is that their families, are worried about the fact that their relationship started with infidelity. When they both met each other, they both were married at the time. Paul is a retired entertainment and corporate attorney. Donzella was trying to get on TV. I don't know in what capacity, like to act, journalism. I don't know what. She's trying to be famous. Okay, now she on TV, as Tracy said. Anyway, their concerns are because their family, is not really feeling the relationship because it seems like it started with infidelity, okay, which is understandable, right? So they go to the house. Tracy greets them. They do their tour. Tracy talks to them about their relationship. So Donzella met Paul through her husband, Lord. And her husband, was trying to help Donzella get into the entertainment industry, and so he knew Paul already. And, he told Paul, like, hey, any events or any opportunities you have for Donzella, like, please help her, take her to LA, do all this stuff. So, they told Tracy that they didn't have any initial vibes or chemistry when they first met each other. It was strictly business. And, Tracy's trying to figure out, okay, so when did it get to the point where it got romantic? And when did you guys meet? When did you guys get divorced? They ask all this question. They're like, oh, they don't even have the timeline together. You could tell the story got some cracks in it because it's not even together. They're like, oh, that was like, what, 4 or 5 years ago? And then, no, when we met, so basically, the husband, so Donzella's ex-husband, made like a calendar or something, and so that Paul can put on it, they could coordinate when all the events are going to happen. So they would invite Donzella's ex-husband, but he would never go. So, okay. So, of course, Paul, I'm sure that's when Paul and Donzella got close. Like, y'all not fooling nobody. I kind of wish they would handle the situation different. Like, instead of trying to spin this narrative like this wasn't the case. Like, you might as well say like, yeah, we fell for each other. But I mean, also you're gonna damned if you do and damned if you don't, because if you do say like, hey, yeah, we were liking each other even though we both were married and it was a forbidden love and all that, people still might like look at you sideways. But I think we would like the truth better. And actually the idea of it being like a kind of forbidden thing kind of makes it more interesting and maybe a little bit more understandable, right? So anyway, then Paul got put out of his house because his wife and his ex-wife and Donzella's ex-husband called each other and was like, hey, we think, Paul and Donzella got something going on. So the ex-wife put Paul out the house, okay? He said he didn't have a car at the time. I don't know why he didn't have a car at the time. Because he's an attorney. I don't get it. Anyway, his sister, Alexis, was living there at the time. We're going to get to her. So anyway, Dr. Tracy is like trying to make them understand, like, that's the issue, is that they're not going to believe you. It doesn't matter the dates and all that. It's just spirit. It gives, we cheated in the spirit of it, basically. So that's the issue, right? So then, Dr. Tracy asks who's coming on each side. So on Paul's side, we have his three sisters, Rhonda, Demetrius, and Alexis. They definitely do not approve of the situation. On Donzella's side, she has her son, Justin, her nephew, Devin, and her friend, Shelly. Okay, so they go down, and they're waiting for people to come in the house. They're looking in the fridge. Look like they're making something to eat real quick. Paul's complaining about almond milk. Like, boy, whatever. So then, I think the sisters came first. And Alexis did not hug Donzella. I can't stand that name, Donzella. I'm sorry. Then Donzella's family came, right? So then they all sat down to ask what are the concerns with their marriage. So, Paul and Donzella let them know they're going to be getting married in like a year. What's up? So then Shelly said, she doesn't really know Paul. She's trying to figure out, like, if this is real love and all this stuff. The nephew, Devin, said that, the divorce rate is high, and they started out on a business relationship. Like, maybe they need to put the romance aside and just do strictly business, especially knowing what Donzella's been through in her past relationships. I'm like, what has she been through? Because that kept being emphasized in the episode. Then we get to Justin. Justin said, my mom, I just want her, I don't know you like that. Like, I just want her to be treated well. That's all I want. Make sure my mom's being treated right. Okay, so then on Paul's side, Rhonda said, she wants to improve her relationship with her brother Paul. Alexis said her issue is that, she was living there in the house of Paul and his ex-wife when everything was going down. She feels like she was used to help Paul cheat on his wife with Donzella, like she was used in his schemes, right? And she wants an apology for that. Demetrius is, she's not sure about everything, his relationship with them, his siblings, and possible infidelity. Like, she got her issues too. So Alexis in the confessional said that, Donzella was like, Alexis is full of shit. She ain't getting no apology from me. So anyway, so they tell them, we're going to be playing this game. Both of us have to do the same activity of basically writing out like different events in our relationship and giving dates to them to help clear up the timeline. So Paul sits down with Donzella's side, and he's coming up with all these dates and events, and Donzella sits down with Paul's side, and she's okay, we're gonna, figure out the timeline and the dates. Alexis said, I was already there, I know the timeline, I don't need to do this. So then Donzella's like, well, we gotta get through it. So, and also, side note, Donzella looked like she was so happy to be on TV. She was doing TV. And I was kind of questioning Paul as well. He looked like he was giving, I'm doing TV also. In my opinion, y'all let me know what y'all think about it in the comments though. So anyway, so the production of the show is shady because they had a bar at the bottom where they're showing the name of the event. Then they have Donzella and Paul, and they're comparing and contrasting the dates that they're both coming up with at the same time. There's no dates matched. Like, I didn't get into the specifics of them. We're not going to get into them. But basically, it was a waste of time, y'all. Like, Donzella said June of this year. He said May of this year. Like, nothing in their stories were consistent with each other. That's, like, problem number one, right? Neither of them had their dates together. Both sides of the family was sitting there looking crazy like, this is ridiculous. They not. Shelly's like, I don't understand. This is not adding up. This ain't even making sense. Alexis is like, what is the point of all this? Like, it was just a waste of time, in my opinion. Like, it was a gross waste of time. Like, these dates don't even matter. Like, what are y'all doing? So anyway, I mean, I know they had to do it for the show, but it was just like, why are we doing these dates again? So Shelly was like, okay, like, these days, like, is this real? Like, what's going on? And she was like, well, why do your sisters, you know, have an issue? And then he was letting her know that, like, yeah, I don't really understand my sisters. You know, they have a tendency to want to sweep things under the rug. That's how we grew up. And you see my sister Alexis, she was already coming for me in the beginning and trying to cut out and all that. So then over there on Donzella's side, Alexis is like, all these dates don't really matter. And Donzella was like, see, now as you guys can see from this, like, there was nothing going on, and you don't really know what's going on in somebody else's household. And if you had an issue with something, you could have just asked me, but you didn't know nothing, and there was no cheating going on. And so then Rhonda was like, oh, it sounded like shots fired. And so then Alexis is like, this is like, okay, girl, whatever. And so Donzella was like, so you're saying that you wanted an apology for what? Like, you wanted an apology. And then she's like, I don't really want to talk about that right now. And then Donzella do keep going at Alexis. That's one thing I didn't like. Donzella, even though Alexis be like, I don't want to talk about it. Like, okay, if somebody says you don't want to talk about it, like, leave it alone. But Donzella kept poking her. And so then Donzella's like, Paul was over there struggling when the wife put him out and his 2 black garbage bags, and he didn't have a car, and you didn't go help him. You didn't go see about him, none of that. So then, and Paul had complained about that too. He, in another scene, saying that, oh, you know, my sister, you know, she was there, but she didn't even like get her car and try to help me move and all this stuff. And I'm like, what was she? I mean, I get it. It was just like, Tim was like, he wanted to be rescued by the sister. I'm like, that ain't her job to rescue you in that situation. Like, she could have gave you a ride to the hotel or back to Donzella's house. I don't know. Anyway, I was like, y'all need to stop. So then Alexis was like, I'm done. Like, I'm finished. Like, don't ask me nothing else. So then Donzella kept poking at her about whatever the issue was. And then the one sister told Alexis to get, you know, you need to get up and walk away. I suspect that Alexis has a bit of a mental health problem, or she gonna pop off any minute. Like, she'll strike away. Like, that's somebody you don't ever want to piss off, okay? Because she seemed like she probably got some anger and control issues. Because the way the sisters kept trying to, like, make sure they manage her was kind of interesting to me. So anyway, Alexis started walking off in her African dress. And then, actually, I did like the colors of her dress. And then she was like, came back. She's like, so wait a minute, though. You took a picture with him, and you was doing his naked stuff, and you was painting, and his mouth was right next to your titty, and you don't call that cheating? Like, what's that about? And so then Alexis was like, we were at a paint party. Like, it was nothing. And they were like, wait. So Rhonda was like, wait, what happened with the picture? So then Donzella was trying to downplay it, like, he just literally was right here by my boob. That's it. Like, that's not cheating. That doesn't mean nothing like that. What is, like, I'm not, and she said, I don't feel sorry about it. I didn't kill anybody. I didn't do anything wrong. I have no regrets about it. So that also lets me know that Donzella, y'all was definitely up to something at the time, girl. Like, just come clean. Just come clean, girl. So anyway, then Alexis did storm off eventually. So then they had their dinner. Y'all know the first dinner always go wrong. So anyway, they eating the spaghetti. I don't know if that's all the producers provide them to eat on the first night is spaghetti, because that's what they was eating in the last episode, or that's what all the black people want to cook to feed the whole family. So I don't know, to feed both families, I mean. So anyway, excuse me. So Paul was like, oh yeah, how did the 2 tasks go? And Shelly said that, that it gave her a chance to get to know Paul more, and she felt like it was positive, and she's, liking everything she's hearing so far, and she thought it was a good thing. So he's like, oh, we're in a better position now. And so she was like, well, no, like, we never had a position at all. Like, now we arrived, basically. So they all laughed about that. So then Paul asked how it went for Donzella and the sisters. And Donzella was like, yeah, it didn't really go well. I tried to ask Alexis about, what does she feel she's owed an apology and all this stuff, but she wasn't really trying to answer it. And so then at the tape, and she said Alexis walked off. And so Paul's like, you walked off? Alexis was like, I sure did. Like, she continued to eat. So then Donzella was trying to ask Alexis, poke at her again, and Alexis was like, I'm not about to talk about it. I'm not about to talk about it. So then she started looking the other way, like she wouldn't even look at Alexis. Alexis was like, I'm talking to you, like, look right here. And so then she was saying something to the sisters, and the sisters like, no, you don't have to do with that. Like, you want some tea, you want this and that. And then they were like, Donzella was getting really mad because she's like, why are you guys fighting her battles? Like, she's a grown woman. Like, I'm talking to her. And so then her son, Justin, got frustrated. And he gonna say, I feel like you guys are just talking at my mom at this point, because the sisters were getting mad at the point that I don't know why I want to call her Monzella or Mozzarella. Donzella kept, getting on Alexis, like, tell me what you want to say, just talk about it, and what do you need an apology for, and all this stuff. And so the sisters was like, if she says she don't want to talk about it, like, you're not going to force her to talk. And Alexis had stood up at this point as well. And so the sisters were saying that Donzella was being a mean girl and she was being a bully, all this stuff. And so then that's when Justin was like, you guys are attacking my mom, and it just feels like you guys are jealous of her. Like, I don't understand, like, but it's just giving like you guys are real jealous. So then Rhonda was like, she just laughed it off. She was like, we not accepting that. Like, she was like, boy, go on. She was like, I'm not taking that in. Like, and I'm glad she handled it that way because he was younger. And he don't know no better. I mean, maybe the sisters were jealous of Donzella. I don't know, but that's not the issue we have right now, Justin. But he just wanted to defend his mom and say something, okay? So then he walked off, he mad. So then, everybody's going back and forth and all that. So then Paul asked Alexis, like, why did you have an issue with Donzella today? Like, why, what's going on? And so he was like, he asked her some question and she said yes. And so then he said something about we can have healing or something. I forgot how he worded it, but basically so then she was like, when she came, he was like, why didn't you give her a hug, or greet her when she came in the house? She was like, I was very cordial. I said hi. I didn't cuss her out. She cussing to say she didn't cuss her out. That was it. Like, I said hi. That was it. I was cordial. Like, what you want? And so then Alexa, they just all start arguing some more. And Demetrius gets mad. And she gets up and she's crying. And she's like, I'm leaving the house. Like, I'm over this. So then all the sisters go in the room. And Demetrius, like, she tried to pack her bags. And she's like, for him to get negative and disrespectful to me. Because Tim said something to the sisters. I can't remember what it was, y'all. It's late. But basically, they was all arguing and fussing and fighting, and it wasn't going anywhere. The sisters wanted to leave. Anyway, the next morning they meet with Tracy, and Tracy asks how things go. And so they let her know, like, nah, it didn't really go well. And she let them know, like, that they don't care about the dates and timelines. It's just the fact that, you guys are trying to spin the story. And Dr. Tracy let them know, like, you need to let go of the narrative. Like, what is the truth of what really happened with you guys? And so then she's like, what is it about this paint picture I'm hearing about? So then they pulled up the picture and it didn't look good. Then Dr. Tracy was like, oh no. So she was like, yeah, this doesn't look good. She was like, asking him, like, what if your ex did that to you? Like, how would you feel? So Donzella was like, she wouldn't like it. And so then Tracy's like, exactly. So you need to treat people like you want to be treated. Like, if it's not okay for him to do it, then like, why is it okay for you to do it? And then Donzella tried to flip it like, oh, it's not a big deal. It's just a picture. We weren't feeling each other at the time. Like, we just take the picture. And then Tracy's like, oh, no, you flipping it. Like, no, that's not what it is. You just said that that wasn't okay. And so basically Tracy was trying to make them understand, like, it doesn't matter if you guys weren't having sex at this point. This still looks bad. And the fact that you guys had some kind of connection going on. Yeah, you guys were cheating. You were having an affair. Like, point blank, period. Y'all was cheating on y'all spouses to be with each other. That's what it was. I don't know why they don't see it that way. So Tracy finally got them to, like, Donzella to see, like, oh, okay, like, it doesn't have to just be having sex. You know, like Tracy said, like, that's the purest form of cheating when you have sex with somebody else. But it could be other things that's not sex that you're still cheating. And so then she let, like, Paul know, like, it's not just Donzella, like, you too. You need to understand that too. And you got your own things you need to work on with your sister. So she's going to have the family therapist, Dr. What is her name? I know it starts with R. Rotini or something like that, come and talk to Paul and his sister. So Paul goes to meet with the psychologist and the sisters. And so she, you know, tells them she's here to talk to them. And they're like, why are you here? And Paul's, you know, letting the doctor know the issues in their situation with the family and how he felt weird about Alexis not helping him when he, you know, the wife kicked him out, and how the relationship, the timeline of his relationship looks funny, and how he didn't see it as cheating because it wasn't sex, but then now Dr. Tracy helped him realize that. And so Alexis' thing is that she felt that, you know, Paul was having her help him with the cheating situation, right? And so Paul was like, I never had you, like, go entertain her ex-husband while me and Donzella hung out, so, like, I'm not sure what you're talking about. And she was like, it wasn't, like, me having to babysit him or entertain him or nothing. She was like, what it was is, like, you would tell your wife, like, oh, me and my sister are going somewhere, and so then she would never question it because I was going. And so I could see how that could happen. Now, I don't know if it's happening the way Alexis is explaining it's happening, but I could see how that could happen. So then Paul did apologize. He said that was never his intentions. That was not his plan. He seemed like he just apologized, like, to get along, to go along, to get along kind of apology, but it was genuine. And so the doctor said, why can't you guys just tell Paul what's going on? And Rhonda said she don't like confrontation. A lot of people don't like confrontation. Confrontation is definitely hard to deal with, right? And so then Paul was saying, like, you know, my sisters are important to me. And he's gonna say, but then he's like, well, and my relationship with Donzella is important to me. Like, I gotta have my household gotta be good. And so then the doctor's like, what if y'all can't get it together? He's like, we could just FaceTime. She's like, no, like, that's just going to break your relationship further apart. Like, you guys got to figure this out. Excuse me. And she was like, okay, if Donzella is really your wife and she loves you, she's going to put her differences aside to, like, hang out with, with him and the sisters. Like, and so, Paul brought up the whole thing of somebody messaging Donzella calling her a whore, right? And so they all denied it, like, no. Even the doctor was like, did anybody ever call her something like that or out her name or whatever? They were like, no. Alexis like, I don't use that kind of language. I never would. The sister's backing her up like, oh, she don't talk like that. She would never use that kind of language. No. So anyway, Paul explains that's when Donzella came in the house with that on her. So that's why, you know, there's been some discourse, right? So, you know, like I said, Dr. Rotini, or is that her name? Told Paul, like, you know, Donzella, if she has too much pride to still want to, you know, be with you and be with the sisters, then that's going to be a problem. And she has to, you know, them, do they feel like things are resolved? Alexis says she got her brother back, and Rhonda feels good about things. Demetrius is still skeptical. I think there's some hurt there in that family that we're just not getting. Some unresolved issues, right? So then back in the house where they're all having dinner or lunch or something. And so then they bring up the whole situation of this text message of Donzella being called a whore. Donzella's like, yeah, you called me a whore. Alexis is swearing up that she didn't. The sisters, again, backing her up. 10 toes down, she don't use that kind of language. That's not what she would say. Alexis is like, I would never call you whore. I don't even use that word. That's not me. She's like, I would call you something else before I called you that. She was like, well, what would you call me? She was like, a bitch. I was like, dang. And so then somebody said, well, good dinner. And I was cracking up. So then they just go on eating whatever that was they was eating. And then Donzella was like, as soon as somebody could take accountability, everything will be good. And so Justin, he mad. He like, I know my mom can hold her own, but I'm tired of this. It really seems like the sisters are jealous of my mom. Like, as if the way she carried herself and all that. He definitely could see that his mom looked better than them sisters, and that's what it was. And there's no shade to the sisters. They were beautiful too. Anyway, so then the sisters are like, okay, we're going to, try to find these text messages and get this cleared up. So then Alexis goes in the room and she checked her Google Voice and she called that girl whore. Now, the reason why I knew she did it, at first, when she first was like, no, I would never even use that word. I was like, kind of gonna believe her, but at the table right before then, she was like, you're adamant that I said that. Maybe it's a possibility, but I don't think I said that. When she said it could be a possibility, I said, oh, you said it. You said it. So then she checked her phone. Who came in there? I think Demetrius, and she was like, did you say it? And she was like, yeah, I did. And then she was like, dang, like, oh, snap. So then she says she learned about herself that when she gets angry, she says, crazy things, bad things, and she doesn't remember them. That's exactly the vibe she's giving. Like, she can snap on somebody, like blackout snap, and really hurt somebody and not realize it when she come back to herself. That's the vibe I get from Alexis. Like, there's a little blankness in there for me. So anyway, she did go back in there and pull Donzella aside and apologize to her and said that, she used to know Donzella back in the day when all this stuff was going on, and she didn't know she called her that. So she did apologize, so that was good. So they seemed like they're going to move forward, right? And so then Donzella and Paul go talk to Dr. Tracy. They tell her about, both the conversations with the therapist and then the conversation Donzella and Alexis had, and Donzella's really happy about it. So now it's the blessing ceremony, right? So let's see. Shelly gave her blessing. She's good at everything she saw there. Devin did too. He's concerned about the divorce rate, but blessing. I'm like, did the producers tell him to talk about the divorce rate? Because he kept talking about that. Justin said, he got to know Paul more, and, as long as you treat my mama good, I walk you down the aisle, mama. He gave her blessing. We got the Rhonda. She gave her blessing. Alexis, she said, some things were talked about mostly, and we got it together. She gave her blessing. Then we got the Demetrius. Demetrius said, she's glad the issues were resolved. Hopefully they can get closer. However, she's still skeptical, and she did not give her blessing, but she wants to, build a relationship with Donzella and gets to know her. So Donzella doesn't really know these sisters that well before she got on the show, remind you. So anyway, so Demetrius is the only one that didn't give her blessing. I thought it would be Alexis, but I think Demetrius was really, really hurt by Paul after everything had went down. So then, they go outside, y'all. They take their little family fiancé picture. The after show, what did they call that? The update said that Donzella and Paul are doing good with their relationship and they're growing. They're gonna have a wedding in spring 2023. Paul's getting closer to his sisters and invites them to social events. And Donzella says she has no interest in trying to build a relationship with Alexis. So, I thought y'all kissed and made up, but I guess they didn't. That was it, y'all, for family or fiance. I mean, it was a good episode. It was just irritating with Donzella and Paul trying to make their narrative like they weren't cheating, and they were. But anyway, doesn't even matter. So don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and share. And I will talk to y'all soon. We're going to wrap up P-Valley tomorrow. We're going to get back to the Married to Medicine. And it's all good. Talk to y'all soon. Bye.